chartered accountant, you have to be safe, right? So then chartered accountant කෙනෙක් විදියට නම් වාට පාර්ලිමේන්තු එකට යන්න පුළුවන්. වාට මිනිස්ට්‍රි එකක් මීට් කරන්න පුළුවන්. If you are chartered accountant, that's really good for the profession, right? But you have to stand for the truth. You can't deviate from that. So that's all about professional behavior. Right? answer එක ලියනකොට මේ අමාරු වචනක් ලියන්න ඕනේ. It's very important. So then what I mentioned here, the small meaning. ඒවා dictation පාඩම් කරගෙන එන්න. Okay. Exaggerated claims. Right? So then those are the ideal words in the code, right? You are not giving bad impact, negative impact to others. You are not claiming, not talking about bad mouth about other firms. That's a simple word, right? So then, but you have to use this. So that's the way we need to deal with this subject. And that's about principles. 5 principles. You should know all 5 principles: integrity, objectivity, professional competence and due care, confidentiality, professional behavior. These are the 5 principles, right? 5 principles, and then that will be impacted by 5 threats. 5 threats, right? That's about self-review, self-review threat, self-interest, and advocacy, and then familiarity and intimidation. These are the 5 threats. Self-interest, what do you mean by that? If you are focusing about self-interest, not the final objective, so then you are deviating from the integrity, objectivity, right? Professional behavior. So then that will impact to your principles. For self-interest, if you are using information of the auditee, that will impact to the confidentiality, right? Likewise, you need to have that link between principle and the threat. So these are the examples. You can refer. These are scenarios which impact to self-interest, right? If we are having low billing, high fees, overdue fees, loans and guarantees, gift and hospitality, family and personal relationships, partner on client board, partner on client board. Again, audit partner client ගේ board of directors ලගේ member කෙනෙක් කියන්නේ. Employment with assurance client. Yeah. Again, assurance client ගේ employee කෙනෙක් කරලා ඉඳලා දෙනවා. Right? Now you are the auditor. You can't do that, right? So we should have a cooling period for that. Close business relationships. Again, partner to business එකක් තියෙනවා. ඒකට main supplier එයාගේ auditee. So මොකද වෙන්නේ? That's not good, right? You can't have kind of a independent relationship. Financial interest. After financial interest, एक company आती है, right? Low billing क्या? And high fees, percentage of contingent fees. Percentage of contingent fees क्या है? Again, profitability එක 2 million වලට වඩා වැඩි වෙනවා නම් auditor percentage එකක් හම්බෙනවා. ඒතකොට auditor මොකද try කරන්නේ? Audit entries pass කරන්න try කරන්නේ. ඒක under provision over provision adjust කරන්න try කරන්නේ නැහැ. මොකද profit එක වැඩි වෙන්න audit fee එක වැඩි වෙනවා. If you agree with contingent fees, අපිට audit fee agree වෙන්න බෑ. මේ අවුරුද්දේ profit එක 5 million exceed කරනවා නම් audit fee එක 10% incremental එකක් දෙනවා කියලා we can act like this. Contingent fees. right? So then, if you agree like this, it will impact to your independence. Why? Wow, overstatement of provision. Sorry, understatement of provisions address කරනවා අඩුයි. right? So understatement කියනවා නම් ඔයා provide කරන්න කියන්නේ නේද? ඒතකොට profit එක මොකද වෙන්නේ? අඩු වෙනවා. ඒතකොට ඔයාගේ මේ intent එක objectivity එක deviate වෙනවා. right? So then careful on this type of scenarios. So then this type of scenarios can be tested in the exam. So you need to identify is that a self interest, right? Now hotel audit එකක් කරනවා. වාට family එකටම hotel audit period එකේ 5 star room එකක් දීලා තියෙනවා. family එකම ගිහින් දාලා audit කරන්න. The full buffet එකක් දෙන්න. That is not a independent indication. That's self interest, right? වාට birthday එකට ලොකු gift එකක් දෙනවා. Right? You can't accept this type of gifts, right? You have to disclose that. But in a diary එකක් දුන්නට කමක් නැහැ. නේද? වාට hamper එකක් දෙනවා. So then that's not good. Right? So then that's all about self-interest. Self-interest එක මෙන්න හම්බුනා මොකද වෙන්නේ? loan එකකට guarantee කෙනෙක් විදිහට sign කරනවා. You can't do that as a audit partner. So then if we are doing such kind of thing, we are having a different relationship. Right? So then we are deviating from the objectivity. We don't have integrity, so we need to be careful, right? These are the threats we have: self-interest, self-review. What do you mean by self-review? Self-review. So then whatever the service we have given, we are audited, that will impact to the numbers. That will impact to the numbers, account balances and disclosures of the financial statement. Now we are going to do that. Now we are going to audit that. So then it will create a self-interest. Because that in the company, they are going to implement a new system. System migration, system architecture will be done by your firm. And system data migration also done by your firm. And then this system migration, system architecture, whatever all those tasks will impact your year-end numbers. So that will be audited by yourself. So whatever issues related to the data transfer process, data migration process, system infrastructure, all those things will not be highlighted by yourself because it was done by you. That's a great self-review. That's why I told you. After shifting, after not having PwC here, once you are dealing, once you are going to another auditor, we can't get service from KPMG and EY. Globally, they have taken audit data services, system implementation. That services, the result of that service will be used by our company. So it's really a self-review. There are many examples. Other services, corporate finance, internal audit service. Internal audit service is the thing. අපිම තමයි. එහෙනම් අපිට audit කරන්න බෑ. internal audit එකත් අපි නම් කරන්නේ. internal control improvement එකනේ කොහෙද? internal audit එකේ. So then if you are doing audit, external audit can't be done. And tax services, same partner can't do that. Valuation services, same partner can't do that. Right? There should be a separate partners, separate teams. KPMG, EY, PwC, Deloitte, Delta, they have separate partners and separate team for taxation, valuation, right? With having kind of a separate boundaries. You can say that Chinese wall clear deviation should be there in the firm. Otherwise, it will create that tax provision, tax calculation, tax audit can't be done, right? because there won't be any tax related issues because it was done by you. But here, different partner, different team will be done by tax, and it will be provided to you. You will review, and your expert, financial statement auditing expert will review that. What is you are going to find as the tax calculation? Right? Then valuation, preparing accounting records and financials. So that is the area you will mislead it, right? We assume that we need to prepare the financial statement. We are the person who are giving financial advisory services. We can't do that, right? So then, yeah, the policies and procedures decide කරනවා financials. එහෙම කරනවා. Policies and procedures වල accuracy එක. A judgmental accuracy එක. You have to independently verify that. And then only you can give clear opinion, right? So then that will create a self-review threat. If you are having self-review threat, that will impact your basically the objectivity, right? And then integrity. All those two principles will be impacted directly. And then advocacy and familiarity trait. Advocacy means you can't be an advocate to your client. You can't, represent auditee to the law because of you can't represent auditee to outside legal cases. On behalf of auditee client, you can't represent as an advocate to him. If you are acting like that, you are getting a risk, right? It will impact the financial statement. If you are going to audit that, that will impact your principles. So then basically, you can't act as an advocate to your audit client. That's the meaning of that. Read that. Acting in an advocacy role for audit client is resolving a dispute or litigation when the amounts involved are material to the financial statements, yes, on which the firm will express an opinion is not permitted by the CA. Sri Lanka Code. In addition, the code does not allow the appointment of partner or employee of the firm as a general counsel or legal affairs of the audit client. That's important. While the audit firm is a partner, general counsel legal affairs වලට appoint කරන්න බෑ. Outside firm එකක් legal consultation firm එකක් වෙන්න බෑ. Because they are representing the client, right? You are the auditor, independent auditor, right? So that's about advocacy, right? Familiarity. Once you are having your relationship, once you are having audit relationship long time, you may be familiar with the auditee client නේද? Client family එකේ partner කෙනෙක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් නේද? ටිකක් කල් යනකොට audit එක කරගෙන. Audit procedures කරගෙන යනකොට දන්නේම නැතුව නේද? Audit team එක නෙමෙයි finance team එක family members ලා වෙලා නවතින්න පුළුවන්. So then that will create a family effect. ඕනම මෙහෙම කියන්නේ incidents තියෙන audit manager CFO වැඩ කරනවා. family එක වැඩි වෙලා තියෙන ඒකට. එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒක එයාලා කියන්නේ exams කරනවා. දැන් එයාලා same degree එකට read කරනවා. ඒකට ගොඩක් familiar. Right? They may be good friends, right? So then if you are having such scenario, that will impact your financials. So because of that friendship, you can't deviate from that, right? You can't go to your objectivity. That will impact your audit, quality of the audit, right? So having audit client or long period of time may create a familiar threat to the independence. The severity of the threat depends on factors such as how long an individual has been on the audit team, how senior the person is, where the client's management has changed, and whether the client's accounting issues have changed in nature of complexity. Right? So, අපි ගොඩාක් කාලයක් සර්විස් එක දෙනවා නම් ඒක ෆැමිලිය වෙනවා. ඔඩිට් පාර්ට්නර් ෆැමිලිය වෙනවා. ඔයාට ඔඩිට් ඉෂුස් පේන්න නැති වෙන්න පුළුවන් සමහරවිට. මොකද ඔයාම තමයි දිගින් දිගටම ඔඩිට් කරන්නේ. ෆැමිලිය වෙන්න මොකද වෙන්නේ? බ්ලයින්ඩ් වෙනවා. එතකොට ඔඩිට් ඉෂුස් පේන්න නැතුව යනවා. ඒක වෙන්න දෙන්න බෑ. That's why we are having kind of a partner rotation, audit firm rotation, right? So then recently, central bank required to for finance institutions, finance companies to protect the audit firm, right? Protect the audit firm. So the rotation of the audit firm means after 6 years, after 5 years time, they have to rotate the audit firm. It may be different audit team, right? So that's how they are maintaining that independence level, reduce the familiarity, right? And then intimidation threat. What do you mean by that? So then we are threatening to the audit team. If you are not doing this, we are not paying this time. We are not giving incremental. We are not planning to settle the bill on time. If you are not doing this, we are threatening to the auditors. So, audit එකේ member කෙනෙක් finance team එකට එන්න CV එක දාලා තියෙනවා. So එයා කියනවා ඔයාගේ CV එක approve කරන්නේ මේ audit basis pass කරනවා. මේ issues highlight කරොත් ඔයා ගන්න finance team. It's like what? It's a kind of a threatening incident, right? As an auditor, we don't want to face to a kind of a threatening incident, right? We should perform our duty in a kind of a free mindedly. We are having such kind of a threat to our service, we are deviating from our objectivity. That's all about intimidation threat. Okay. So if you are having kind of this type of a scenario, so then the required capability is you need to identify the threat, you need to identify the principle which we impacted. Right. So then now we are going to discuss about we discuss the principles, we discuss the threat. Now we are going to discuss what? Safeguards. Right? Safeguards. Let's principles and safeguards. So then we may have some incidents which create a threat to you. Question is, if you are having a threat, are you going to directly reject this? The question. If you are having kind of a threat, you are going to trigger that threat immediately. So you know that in my audit team, that's audit team member having relationship with audit team. So that may be a CFO के पुला in audit team में और का indicate करो या किया ना तो रामकर कराने audit audit के पास मिला आई करना है पर मुझे दिखा तो audit team में के audit member आई करना team में करना. That's called what? Safeguards. You can put your safeguards as audit firm, as audit team. You can initiate safeguard to reduce the threat to acceptable low level. This is the word. You need to establish safeguard to reduce the risk, reduce the threat to acceptable low level. This is the word you need to use. So then these safeguards can be divided by this way. Safeguard created by profession or by the law, right? Legislation or the regulation. And then safeguards in the work environment. So these are the examples. Professional standards, ethical codes are there. Disciplinary measurements for features of ethical code. The chartered account can connect with the Srilanka Institute. Disciplinary actions can. We need to adhere with the code of ethics. Right? And then education, training, experience as requirement for entry into the profession. Maintain the chartered accountant management. Wow, why was that? That's not easy. So then that's maintain the quality of the profession, right? And after being a chartered accountant, you need to adhere with annual training requirements. CPD. CPD hours need to be covered. Continuous professional development. CPD. Be correct, right? And then safeguarding work environment, maybe firm level or engagement level, right? So then rotation of personnel to avoid increasing familiarity or opportunities for collaboration in fraud. Fraud karan rotation, as I said, if there is a familiarity there, we can move, we can change that person, right, from the audit team. Quality control over work standards and internal audits of quality controls. Internally audit global requirements, benchmarking, kind of standards we can establish in a firm level. So then accordingly we can ensure that we can reduce that threats to acceptable low level by putting safeguards. Wow. Code of ethics. Code of ethics 2023 refer. We are having different sections, right? For gifts, for valuation, for like tax calculations. We have different scenarios, and you can check that and you can study the safeguards, right? We have that detailed explanation, right? Integrity and objectivity, professional competence and care, and confidentiality, and see professional behavior, right? And then we are discussing here uh, identifying threats. Then here discussing intimidation, familiarity, adequacy. All those things are there. Self-interest, right? So then here we have different safeguards. See, safeguards. And here we have different scenarios. You can go through this actually. Uh, immediate close family members. If you are having immediate close family members in audit team, what you are going to do, right? And then using the word on expert. So that we have a scenario like this. And then we have different topics. See, you can go to page numbers this accounting bookkeeping services, administration services, valuation services, tax services, internal audit service, and legal service, recruiting services, corporate finance services. You can't do these services. You can't. You can do, but you need to go through the safeguards. So that page 188. Loans and guarantees with audit line. Loan and guarantees and business relationships, right? And family and personal relationships. Business services with audit line. recently we have taken services. Right? Employment with audit client. Employment with audit client. So then here we have factors that will be relevant in evaluating the level of threats. These are the factors we need to evaluate, and then example of action that might be safeguard to address such familiarity or intimidation threat include. These are the safeguard we can make. Modify the audit plan. Assign to the audit team individuals who have sufficient experience relative to individual who has joined the client. Right? All the things are there, each and every scenario. So my request is go through the relevant code 2023, and now you have the basic understanding to initiate that, right? So then basically we need to focus about safeguards, safeguards from regulations, safeguards from the company auditor, right? And here we have a question. Read this question. The audit committee, ABC Company PLC, has asked the partner, Mr. Silva, to consider whether it would be possible for audit team to perform a review of company's internal control system. A number of recent incidents have raised concern amongst the management team that controls have deteriorated, and this has increased the risk of fraud as well as inefficient commercial practices. The auditor's report for audit of financial statement of ABC Company PLC for the year ended 2024 was signed a few weeks ago. Right? Can Mrs. Silva accept the request? Can't, right? So then, because if you are giving kind of a review or kind of a recommendation for the internal control system, how are you going to audit transaction in next year? Right? So then it will create a self-review threat. So then we can't accept. This kind of questions will be tested in the exam. So then what you have to do is, simply you can answer this. What become answer කරන්න. මම නම් දැන් exam එක කරන්නේ. නිකම්ම ගන්න question එක තමයි මේක practically. So then we can identify the relationship. Is that what is the threat exactly? Whether it's self-review, familiarity, or intimidation or advocacy threat, and what's the principle that is impact, what we can do, safeguards. Right? So then that can be addressed easily as a student. That's all about ethics. So then I covered all the aspects. Right? So then if you go to we have covered all those aspects, right? Governance and internal control, audit planning and risk assessment, audit evidence, have you done? Yes. Auditing digital environment, audit reporting, and assurance related services, audit quality. All those stages completed. Now the responsibility with you, whether you are getting that or not, right? So then go to each and every aspect. Go through that. If anything I have missed, you can highlight, right? That's your right. I'm always going through this. If anything I have not explained, or if you want to do in-depth analysis or details about any aspect, you can raise your voice and you can request, right? So I'm here to accept very, uh, professionally or genuinely. I need that support from you all. If you want anything to explain more, I'll do that. So in my list, I have to do that deferred tax and financial instruments and fair valuation, segmental information will be discussed with you all. How we can audit that, what is the accounting treatment plus consolidation, right? So then those things we discuss with you. How we can audit, what's the accounting treatment